It's World Series time again tonight, and I've done a little brushing up on my baseball. In fact, I've become quite an authority. For instance, I know that there are 2 different leagues, each league having 2 divisions, and the winners of the 4 divisions have a best out of 5 playoff to see which 2 teams play in the best out of 7 World Series. The only thing I don't understand is why the winners of the World Series wait until January to play in the Super Bowl.
From Oakland, California, game number 4 of the 1972 World Series. NBC Sports, the service of NBC News, presents World Series Report. Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Garagiola, and once again, I'm here at the ballpark in the bleachers, and the weather, well, we don't have any rain just yet, but there is a threat of rain. I've brought my umbrella. I'm ready. It is cool. It is one of those nights that you better hit that ball right here and not on the end of the bat or on that handle. You're going to get a handful of bees. It is crisp. You know, one of the main topics of conversation in the clubhouse, both clubhouses for that matter, is an unanswered question. Which is better for playing baseball, natural grass or the artificial turf? Well, last night, as you well know, we returned to natural grass here in Oakland. And I don't think that question is answered yet. All it did was just add fuel to the fire. Could Green, for example, at second base, been able to make the play that he made last night on artificial turf? It's a diving play. Some people say he could not have made it on the artificial turf. That ball would have gotten by him. Yet there are others say, yes, he would have made it because he'd have been playing deeper. Well, here's a ball that was hit on that artificial turf, and it did get by. Here's a bouncing ball, which doesn't take the true hop like it would on artificial turf. So the guys are saying, I don't know. Would Menke, for example, been able to make a play at first base? This was on natural grass, he couldn't. So the question goes on and it goes on unanswered. But one play did come back, the bunt. Some people seem to think that with the artificial turf, the bunt has left baseball because that ball just shoots off the artificial surface. And then there are those who say, no, they play deep, so you can still bunt. One thing for sure, on natural grass, it came back. There's the first base hit of the game right there, a bunt by Rudy. Not a play was made. Here is the bunt by Al Lou. Bench makes the throw, a routine play, but that was the one that turned into a fire drill. Menke's bunt, which turned out to be the biggest play of the night as it moved Perez to second base, where he scored on this base hit. Slowed down by the natural grass. And here comes Perez around third now, and you remember very well, I'm sure you've seen it, down he goes. There are those who say that on artificial turf, even if it was wet, he would not have gone down. But regardless of whether it's better or not, we've got both sides of the argument, and everybody's talking about it. Johnny Bench was in a play yesterday. You remember they tried to walk him intentionally and even pointed to first base, and the catcher put his arm out there, and then he threw a strike and got him. You wonder what his feelings are about that play? They're a little bit different. And we'll be back with Johnny Bench to talk about that play right after this message.
Johns Manville fights fire. You can defeat it with our roofing. Stop it with our panels. Contain it with our walls and ceilings. Fighting fire, an element of today's Johns Manville you may have overlooked.
In a minute, Susan.
Jim, your hair looks like it's still on the beach. It needs to bounce, Jim. Looks alive and natural, Jim.
Jimmy?
Ask Jim.
That's not going to hurt anything now. It's got some...
John, yesterday, you were the victim of what I guess I'd have to call a dirty pool. The catcher goes out to give the intentional walk, and zap, they throw a strike. Had it happened before to you?
Never, and I don't think it'll ever happen again, Joe. I wasn't upset too much about it after the game, but I woke up this morning, I started thinking about it, and, you know, with 60 million people looking on, you really look like a goat. The thing was that I was halfway prepared. Morgan had had hollered at me and said, "Be alert, be alive," when the pitcher started into the windup.
Did you believe Dick Williams when he pointed right there to the mound?
Well,
on the mound?
I think he'll probably win an Academy Award for this series. He is most appearances by a manager, most pointing, most discussions, whatever. And of course, I think now their tricks are over, and here he is right now, and somebody didn't wait. Ooh. And in fact, he said it was the best slider he threw all year.
Did you see Tennis when he put his arm out?
Yes, I glanced back at him because when he came back and he pointed around, and I thought, well, with Perez up, there's one out. He's a double play man, infield slow. You know, you got a force play at the plate. A sacrifice fly means 2 runs, and that late in the ball game, an extra runs mean a lot.
Did you ever pull that play off yourself?
No, I've had pitchers throw it over the plate, well, not without it, without intentionally doing it, but those tricks like that. Now we're aware of their type of baseball, I think, to an extent. And they've just about run out their string.
Would you do that to somebody else?
I don't know. You find one rare situation, you find one catcher that really doesn't know what's going on, and you go out there and try to catch him. And they did. It
didn't make you mad till this morning when you realized how many people saw it.
That's about it. Now, why in the world wasn't I ready, or how can he make that kind of pitch? I think it was just the fact that I was a victim of the times, and it's not a good thing for me to really remember, because everybody now, the whole winter long, is going to say, "Hey, I saw you take that 3-2 pitch. That's stupid."
Hey, John, you were talking about Billingham after the ball game. You were very high on the fact that you thought maybe he should have even been your starting pitcher in the series.
Well, I really did, Joe. I said that after the first ball game, not knowing their attack and what type of hitters they were, we went ahead with Nolan. But after seeing their attack, I said I wish that Billingham could have started, because I felt he was the pitcher that could have done the best job against them. He picks the corners, he's got a sinker ball, and he throws a big slider, and I think that's the best way to get these guys out.
How about Gullett?
Yeah, Gullett's going to overpower him. I think against Pittsburgh he had some problems, but he's a power pitcher going against the power hitters. And when something like that happens, the power usually hitter is going to wind up winning more often than not. I think he can beat this ball club. I really do. I have complete faith in him. And then let's hope that Nolan can
just
come back.
Just overpowering him.
Right.
John, I want to get into a thing about wearing gloves to hit. Do you wear a glove to hit?
Only in spring training, just until my hands get tough enough, and then I just stay away from the gloves. I sweat a lot, and the hand gets all wet, so it doesn't do me any good.
You still use dirt?
Well, I'm not much of a dirt man. I like the pine tar and the rosin, a combination. I leave it sticky on my hands. They're almost black when the game's over, and I really get a good feel of the bat.
Well, John, we've got 4 fellas that I'm going to talk to who wear gloves. I'm going to ask them on what hand they wear and why do they wear it. We should get some interesting answers.
Well, my name is Angel Mangual, and I use 2 gloves because I feel comfortable. And I use cold in my bat because here in Oakland, only in the season it's cold all the way, and that's why I use glove and cold in my bat.
My name is Sal Bando, and I use a batting glove on my left hand because after the off-season, when you report to spring training, your hands are soft and they're susceptible to getting blisters, and they get sore, and all the extra hitting to become very raw. Plus the fact your coordination isn't what it would be during the months of June and July, and hit a lot of balls badly and your hand stings. I would like to break the habit, but I'm just unable to.
My name is Dave Duncan, and my reasoning for not wearing my glove on the top hand is that I prefer to have one hand bare, and personally, the bottom hand, I would rather have the glove on for better grip on the bottom of the bat.
My name's Dal Maxville, and I don't wear a hitting glove. It just doesn't feel comfortable to me. Besides that, I don't get to hit that much.
That's a pretty good reason. You know, some guys don't wear it at the bat, but they wear it when they're out in the field. For example, Gene Tennis of the Oakland club, the catcher, got the big catcher's mitt, but he still wears a glove inside that catcher's mitt. And I asked him why. He says he doesn't like the feel of the sponge, and so he wears a handball glove for protection against a bone bruise. And then there are those who don't wear it at the bat, don't wear it on the field, they just wear it when they get on base. Now, take a look here at Campaneris. He doesn't have the glove on. As he heads down to first base, you'll see it on the split screen. He'll be off to the right. And you'll see him reach in, get the glove, and he's putting it on. Another fella does that is Joe Morgan of Cincinnati. Now, watch him reach for the glove. And he puts it on, and they say they do that because they do a lot of head-first sliding, and they don't want to jam their fingers. But I've always felt that fellas like that put a glove on when they get on base because they just want to look nice when they get to second base, and you just don't know who you're going to meet, and so you do want to look nice. There was another play yesterday that I want to talk about. And that play involved Mike Epstein. You remember he just got the ball and kind of flipped it. Nobody was there. It was one of those hot potato, who's got the glove and who's got the ball. Oh, I got the glove. We'll be right back after this message.
If the world made only one kind of sound, Scotch would make only one kind of tape. But every sound in this world is different. So Scotch makes a lot of different tapes. Whether you're recording something for kicks or for keeps, you can't buy better tapes than Scotch. They're the overwhelming choice of professional recording studios. Why not make them yours?
Allstate has life insurance that says you don't have to die to collect. It's our money-back plan. You get $10,000 of permanent insurance now. All your money back when you're 65. Every dime you paid in. Allstate Money Back. You get something back when your load gets lighter.
Happy day?
You're in good hands with Allstate, young man.
I'm sure we've all seen that play at the ballpark where a fellow grabbed that ball and threw it up almost like, well, I don't want it. Let somebody else handle it. We pretty much had that play here, and I couldn't help but think when we were kids playing hot potato, who's got the hot potato? It's a bouncy ball by Geronimo. Now, Epstein's got it, and here comes the second baseman, the pitcher, and nobody's got it. Here it is once again in slow motion, and old Mike's just going to get rid of it, and now it's somebody else's problem. You don't practice those plays, they just happen. You hate to see them happen, but if there was ever a team that would have a routine to practice a play like that, it would be the Cardinals of 1934, that era, the Gas House Gang, because they had a pepper game, one of my favorite sights. This would be a great way to practice, wouldn't it? Pepper Martin in the middle doing it all. Late Rip Collins and Jack Rothrock. Hot potato, where is it? I wish there could be more of that before the game. The Gas House Gang. Well, there it is, and we get set for game number 4. And for the Oakland A's, it'll be a left-hander. Ken Holtzman is the pitcher for the Oakland A's tonight. And Ken Holtzman's record, 19 victories and 11 defeats. He's got an earned run average of 2.51. And for the Cincinnati Reds, it'll be Don Gullett. And as you heard Johnny Bench say just a few moments ago, Gullett, an overpowering type pitcher. He's won 9, he's lost 10, earned run average of 3.93. So that's it, and this is Joe Garagiola inviting you to stay tuned for game number 4, which will be coming up right after station identification. So long, everybody.
See the award-winning NBC Nightly News with John Chancellor weeknights.
Temperature in the mid-50s, misting, overcast in the Bay Area. And welcome to Game 4 of the 1972 World Series. The National League champions, the Cincinnati Reds, versus the American League champs, the Oakland A's. Brought to you by Gillette, makers of the Gillette Track 2 two-bladed shaving system. And by your Chrysler Plymouth dealer, highlighting Plymouth Satellite for 1973. Built to be seen, not heard. Hi, everybody. Kurt Gowdy of NBC Sports. Monty Moore, the voice of the Oakland A's. When are the hitters going to start hitting? Everybody's asking about this 1972 World Series. Each team has a team batting average of 178. There have been only 9 runs scored in the first 3 games. Cincinnati got on the board last night with its 1-0 victory. And I'll tell you, the way the pitchers are pitching, I don't believe we'll see too much scoring in this series. They're not only pitching with control, but with excellent stuff, changing speeds, and we have just had superb pitching. The hitters have not been that bad. Tonight, a young left-hander, 21 years old, Don Gullett, who was set back with hepatitis early in the season, won 9, lost 10, is on the mound for Cincinnati, and he'll be going against the winner of the first game for the Oakland A's, Ken Holtzman, who won 19 and lost 10. A misty night here. In fact, later we may have a fog rolling in back of us here, coming in and forming an invisible wall. Monty Moore does the A's games here, and he can tell you when we get those conditions here, it's hard to hit a ball out of this ballpark.
Yes, and it's just that kind of a night, too, Kurt. These two teams, though they haven't scored in the World Series, can score. Cincinnati scored 19 runs in their playoff games against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Oakland A's scored 13 in their playoff games against the Detroit Tigers. Both teams, of course, playing 5 games. To give you an idea of how tough runs are to come by here in the World Series, in last night's 1-0 game, let's take a look at the 1 run that was scored. Tony Perez from second base on a base hit up the middle, rounding third, and watch this. Now, you talk about a guy scrambling, scratching, almost stopped to pick up his helmet and said, well, I think I'll go on. Meanwhile, the ball is coming in to the shortstop of the A's, Campy Campaneris, who didn't know about all this falling going on. But that's an idea of how tough it has been for these teams to score. But during the course of the season, Cincinnati was the second best scoring team in the National League, averaging almost 5 runs a game, and the A's were the second best in the American League with almost 4 runs a game. So, Kurt, we'll see tonight whether good pitching once again can stop these hitters.
And can you imagine how Sparky Anderson felt? He's been trying to get a run in here when his man fell down. Well, let's see how Tony Kubek feels about tonight's game. He's down on the field. Tony?
With me down on the field, Pete Rose. And, Pete, I don't mean to say this to sound like I'm discrediting either team's pitching staff, but is the pitching been that good, or has the hitting just been lousy?
Well, I think it's a combination of both, Tony. They've only given us 4 runs, and we've held their team to 5 runs. And Hunter pitched a great game. Odom pitched a great game. Billingham pitched a good ball game. Holtzman pitched good when he was in there. And I don't know. It's been tough hitting. We had some days off after the Pittsburgh series, and we've been 3 days without batting practice now. But they say that good pitching will always overcome good hitting, and that may be the case right now. But I know some of the fellas, including me on our ball club, aren't swinging the bat like we were against Pittsburgh in the playoffs. And I think when we start swinging the bats, we should be able to beat Oakland, because they don't score a lot of runs. They rely on their pitching mostly.
Pete, do you think having seen Kenny Holtzman over in the National League is going to be an advantage for your team?
Well, it definitely should help you, and it didn't help me the first game. I was 0 for 4 off him. He pitched 5 innings against us, but just like tomorrow, Catfish Hunter pitched for the second time around. Then we'll get to see probably Vida Blue Saturday and Blue Moon Odom if it goes 7 games Sunday. And I think it always helps a hitter, especially a hitter like me, because I want to know how a guy's curveball breaks or how a guy's slider breaks or what kind of velocity he's got on his fastball. And I think seeing a guy more than one time really helps you, especially me.
Pete, quickly, what about Don Gullett? He's had a few bad starts.
Well, what can you say about a guy that pitched 2 times against Pittsburgh Pirates? Pittsburgh's an explosive ball club, and they handle left-handers pretty good, and other than that, he's pitching pretty well.
Pete, thank you. Have a good day today.
Thank you, Tony.
Pete Rose, now let's go back upstairs.
Another sellout crowd here in Oakland, and we're ready now for the opening ceremonies of Game 4 of the series.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Oakland Coliseum for the 4th game of the 1972 World Series. Here are the official lineup. First, the Cincinnati Reds. Here's the manager of the Reds, number 10, Sparky Anderson. Batting first and playing left field, number 14, Pete Rose. Batting second and playing second base, number 8, Joe Morgan. Batting third and playing center field, number 28, Bob Tolan. Batting fourth and catching, number 5, Johnny Bench. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 24, Tony Perez. Batting sixth and playing right field, number 11, Hal McRae. Batting seventh and playing third base, number 16, Dennis Menke. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 13, Dave Concepcion. Batting ninth and pitching, number 35, Don Gullett, who is warming up in the bullpen. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the Cincinnati Reds. Now for the Oakland Athletics. Here is the manager of the A's, number 23, Dick Williams. And special recognition to a great ball player injured in the playoffs, unable to play in the World Series, Reggie Jackson. Batting first and playing shortstop, number 19, Campy Campaneris. Batting second and playing right field, number 14, Matty Alou. Batting third and playing left field, number 26, Joe Rudy. Batting fourth and playing third base, number 6, Captain Sal Bando. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 5, Mike Epstein. Batting sixth and playing center field, number 25, George Hendrick. Batting seventh and catching, number 38, Gene Tennis. Batting eighth and playing second base, number 1, Dick Green. Batting ninth and pitching, number 30, Ken Holtzman, who's warming up in the bullpen. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the Oakland Athletics. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to rise and join in the singing of our national anthem, which will be sung by the Bell recording artist, The Fifth Dimension.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light one so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
fourth game of the 1972 World Series is about to get underway. We'll return in a moment.
Tahiti. Your first shore leave in 3 months, but you're seeing more than most guys do in a lifetime. Life's a one-time thing, and you can live it with gusto wherever you go. They even have Schlitz in Tahiti. You're one taste closer to home. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer.
The gift of love is gentle for the children at their play. Each precious, fleeting moment speaks their name.
You love someone, you want to protect them. That's love. That's life insurance. Lincoln National Life Insurance. The gift of love.
The gift of love. Should a gentleman offer more than an evening to a lady, more than candlelight and small talk, more than just a night? Should a gentleman offer a Tipperella to a lady? And what if he does? Well, baby, it's all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the commissioner's box where Lefty Grove, who in 1931, the last year the Athletics were in the World Series, won 31 games and lost only 4, and who in 1969 was voted the left-handed pitcher on the all-time All-Star team, will throw out the ceremonial first pitch.
Tell you, in his prime, Lefty Grove could throw harder than that. We've talked to some of the old-timers who hit against him. They say he was just fantastic. He wound up winning 300 games, and he wound up winning them with a curveball with the Boston Red Sox when he lost his fastball. But in his prime, especially during the years of 29, 30, and 31, when the A's had one of the greatest teams of all time, Lefty Grove was a premier pitcher in baseball. And he has the honor tonight of throwing out the first ball. And that's the left-hander, Ken Holtzman, now starting his warm-up pitches. And in here to take you through the first 4.5 innings is the voice of the Oakland Athletic Baseball team on their broadcasting crew, Monty Moore.
Thank you very much, Kurt, and hi once again, everybody. Kenny Holtzman, one of the most steady performers in the American League this year. You got to look at his motion here, and we call him stylish. And I think when you see him, you'll understand why.
He has a pretty good fastball. I don't think it is as overpowering as Don Gullett's. But Kenny, and we said this the first appearance that we saw him, he has to get his curveball early, and it makes his fastball more effective.
The umpires for the game here tonight, Frank Umont of the American League behind the plate. Bob Engel at first base. Bill Haller at second base. Chris Pelikutis of the National League at third. Jim Honachek of the American League down the left field line. And Mel Steiner on the right field line. He's from the National League. Frank Umont is going out to talk with Ken Holtzman about something here. I don't know what it might be, but I think he's indicating to him that he can blow on his hand here tonight while standing on the dirt part of the mound rather than having to get off of it because it is a little cool.
Might be he wants to tell Sparky Anderson the same thing. Dick Williams is a pepper pot manager who always has been an umpire baiter. And he was telling me before the game tonight, the umpiring in this World Series has been outstanding, just excellent. And Sparky Anderson echoes the same thoughts.
Well, it certainly has, and these fellows really bear down. I think it means as much to an umpire just about as it does to the players to be able to be in a World Series, and they know they are on display. Here's the first pitch of the game to Pete Rose. And we're underway with a strike. Rose for the season for the Cincinnati Reds hit .307. He has had only one hit in 11 at-bats in the series. Holtzman misses, low and away. It's a ball and a strike. Rose, a switch hitter, had an ambition this year to hit 300 from each side of the plate, and he did just that. Holtzman's first curveball is in the dirt. It's 2 balls and a strike. Rose hit .315 against left-handers and .304 against right-handers. Throughout his career as a switch hitter, he's been a little better from the left side. Dick Green to Mike Epstein, and there's one out in the first inning. Holtzman is a spot pitcher. He pitches from the left side a whole lot the same way that Jim Hunter does from the right. He throws to spots. Here now is little Joe Morgan, who has no hits in his last 14 at-bats in 4 games. That counts the last game of the playoffs and the 3 World Series games.
Monty, it appears to me Morgan is pressing too hard.
First pitch hit up in the air to Joe Rudy in left field. And Joe puts it away. There are 2 down.
He lives here. He really wanted to do well. He's been swinging hard. He's perhaps trying to go for the long ball too much, maybe.
Here's Bobby Tolan, the very fine center fielder for Cincinnati, and he had a .283 year. Average-wise, he had 8 home runs, and a very amazing statistic to me is the fact he knocked in 82 runs this year. In the World Series, he has 2 hits in 12 at-bats. Quite a comeback he has made from 2 Achilles tendon injuries. Kenny Holtzman's got a tough play to make, and Epstein dropped the ball. Very fine play by Kenny Holtzman. He threw that ball right where Epstein had the glove. It bounded away.
Pretty good bunt by Bobby Tolan. Holtzman barehands it, knows he's got to hurry. Just off the edge of the glove of Mike Epstein.
Now we'll watch Tolan. Last night the Reds stole 3 bases. They want to play a running game. They're 2 down. Ideal situation for him.
Tolan swiped 42 bases this year. An error has been given to Mike Epstein on the play. Here's Johnny Bench. Johnny led the major leagues in home runs with 40. RBIs with 125, and he base hits to right field. Tolan will go to third base. Matty Alou gets the ball back into Dick Green, and the Reds are set up now with runners at first and third and 2 down. And here comes the hottest hitter for Cincinnati in the World Series, Tony Perez, the only player who has hit safely in all 3 games. He has 5 hits.
Bench just laid the bat on that one, purposely hitting the right field, wasn't trying to pull it.
Now the error could prove very costly if Holtzman cannot get Perez. Johnny Bench at first base. Tolan at third. Good fastball, strike 1. Bench stole a couple of bases in the playoffs against Pittsburgh. It was quite a surprising thing. Ball's fouled away.
Monty, he stole on the pitchers. Got a tremendous jump. And you couldn't charge or blame Sanguillen for not throwing him out. He was halfway to second when the ball was reaching home plate.
They have given the error to Kenny Holtzman, not Mike Epstein. Holtzman is ahead of Perez now at 0-2. See if he tries to go the waste pitch and tempt Perez, or if he challenges him. Bench took off, and no throw is made. He steals second base. Johnny Bench steals second, hoping that the A's would throw and Tolan would break to the plate. The same kind of a play on which Reggie Jackson of the A's scored against Detroit in the playoffs to tie up the final game. Now base hit could score 2. Holtzman broke the curve down and in. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. You can see the left side of the infield is back all the way. Tolan and Bench on 3rd and 2nd. The action has started early in this one tonight. Foul away. Holtzman with a good live fastball.
Monty, so far in this ball game, as opposed to last night, the hitters are obviously seeing the ball better. Cincinnati seems more aggressive at the plate than any of the other 3 games.
Sparky Anderson seemed to think the win they had last night really relaxed his ball club. They were awfully tight until they found out they could score, though it wasn't many. Tolan with a bluff start off 3rd. Holtzman again challenging Perez with a letter-high fastball. It's 2-2. The A's wearing Kelly green over their polar bear white pants tonight. Last night they wore a California gold color. When they play at home on Sundays, they wear still another uniform, all white. He struck him out. The score after a half inning, Cincinnati nothing, Oakland nothing.
Live it up, go bowling. Live it up, laugh it up, join the fun.
Is life passing you by? Get rolling. Go bowling. Shape up, slim down, wind up to wind down. There's room on weekends, also daytimes during the week. So live it up. Go bowling. Start this weekend.
Mr. Atlas?
Yes?
I understand millions of people are buying tires named after you.
Right. They know Atlas tires are built for strength.
Hey! Deep tread.
That deep tread helps give you long mileage and good traction.
Well, where can I get them to fit my car?
There's an Atlas tire for every need and pocketbook at 50,000 leading service stations. There's one near you.
Say, who's holding up the world?
Atlas tires, all built with the strength of Atlas.
When you belong, you know you've made a place for yourself.
Belonging is what credit unions are all about. You're more than a customer. You belong.
When you belong, it all belongs to you. Join your credit union, that's where you belong.
You're looking at 21-year-old Don Gullett. He is in his 2nd World Series.
He's got a Sandy Koufax kind of fastball, Monty. Anytime he goes out to the mound, he can overpower you. Does not have the Koufax curveball, but he can throw the fast one by you.
This is the man they expected to win 20 this year, but he had a case of hepatitis. When they finally discovered what he had, it was called then subsiding hepatitis, the tail end of the disease. But it really set him back this year.
Here is the A's leadoff man, Campy Campaneris. Ran up on the first pitch, and it's a strike from Gullett, and he brought that one right on to town. Campaneris uses a big bat, as you'll notice. It's almost a bottle bat, but it's big all the way down to the handle. Very light, however. He's broken about 30 bats this year. Trying to bunt, it goes foul again. It's no balls, 2 strikes.
Been rather quiet for Pete Rose so far. Last night he told me he had about a dozen eggs and oranges and apples thrown at him out there. They have a sign writing back at him, Rose Garden. Go Reds.
There are some Cincinnati fans here. 2 strikes the count now as we look at Campaneris. That good riding fastball, he wasted it. It's 1-2. Campaneris can hit home runs. He hit 22 home runs a couple of years back in one season. Had 8 for the A's this year. Swinging late on that Gullett fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes, no score. Game number 4 of the World Series, the 5th game to be played here in Oakland tomorrow afternoon. Gullett, good stop. He fell down throwing that ball, but he got him. So there's 1 away. Still a little loose out there on the infield, though they did allow batting practice and infield drills tonight. That's how fine a job they've done getting this place in shape. Here's Matty Alou, who joined the A's for the last 31 regular season games. He was with the St. Louis Cardinals. He has had only one hit in the series, and Matty was saying before the game, boy, I have only one slump all year. Why would it be now? He's a magician with that bat. He can hit it to all fields. Ball one.
Monty, notice the way they're playing him in the infield, especially over here in Oakland with the soft grass. They've come in halfway. They're really in tight, and the outfield's very shallow.
Little blooper to shallow left field. Coming on is Pete Rose. Good catch. He got him on the run. And that's why they play shallow. He dumps that ball right in behind the shortstop with a little inside-out swing.
Here comes Pete hard. He's an ex-infielder, but he has really learned how to play the outfield quickly. See that soft spot just in front of Pete? It could be trouble for a shortstop and the second baseman on the other side going back on the ball. Very soft.
Now here's one of the A's most consistent performers, Joe Rudy, the left fielder. Rudy had a phenomenal year, batting .305, 19 home runs. And Gullett nips the outside corner with a strike on a good fastball. It's 0-1.
Gullett looks quicker tonight than when we saw him in the playoffs against the Pirates, throwing harder.
He threw that one right by Rudy. It's 2 strikes now. Rudy was the 5th best hitter in the American League. League champion this year, Rod Carew of Minnesota, who finished very strongly with a .318 mark. Bench moved outside, you notice, just a little bit that time, asking for the waste pitch. You watch the good catchers move around behind that plate. They help out pitchers, particularly men like Gullett. Throw so hard, they give him a big target. Rudy really got jammed. Shortstop Concepcion takes care of it, and the A's go 1-2-3 in the first inning. The score after an inning of play, Cincinnati nothing, Oakland nothing.
Extra care in engineering. It makes a difference in Chrysler Corporation cars. What began in outer space is now right down to Earth. Chrysler Corporation, the automotive company that helped put the first American in space, now puts some of the things it learned into its cars. Step into the start of the new age of automotive electronics. Electronic ignition for up to 35% more starting voltage than conventional systems. Now standard on all Chrysler Corporation cars built in this country. Electronic voltage regulator to help increase battery life. Electronic digital clock available on some models. So accurate, you can set your watch by it. Electronics. Extra care in engineering. It makes a difference in Dodge, Chrysler, and Plymouth. Discover the difference. Drive one.
Give you a look at the differences in uniforms of the umpires. On the right, the National League umpire you see is in all black with a white patch over the left chest, and that's an American League umpire, Bill Haller, on the left. He has gray slacks with a dark blue sport coat, and they tell me that the American League umpires next year might even be wearing those white striped shoes. Here is Hal McRae. Holtzman starts him off with a fastball outside. It's 1-0. A lot of differences in umpiring in the two leagues, not only in the strike zone, but how they stand behind the plate, the uniforms they wear, and where they stand to cover second base. McRae with a base hit up the middle, and he is 3 for 3 in the World Series. He's the guy, Kurt, who says, I'm going to go up there swinging as hard as I can on every pitch. I might fall down on my face, but I'll be swinging.
Let's watch his swing here. They got to find a place for him. They're thinking about third base for the future. Good level swing. He's done an outstanding job of pinch hitting in the playoffs, and a snap through and his follow through. He can hit, and they were trying to find a spot defensively for him. He may wind up at third someday.
Dennis Menke, who proved last night he can bunt, may be doing it right here. He squares around and bunts at it, misses. They've got a runner picked off with a good throw, but they don't get the throw. Gene Tennis had McRae off first base, and a good throw would have nailed him. The throw went in the dirt.
Take a look at it again. McRae getting off for the bunt. Menke right on through it. Bad throw by Tennis. Epstein did a fine job keeping the ball in front of him going in that right field corner.
Dennis Menke. For Cincinnati this year, hit .235, but he knocked in 50 runs. He's had one hit in the series. Been up 9 times. Bando short hops it. Goes down to second. Green. Whoa! Is he taken out at second base by McCray?
Watch Bando again. He's trying to get the lead runner. Now watch McCray. Green, a dead duck. Watch McCray once again. Had a good jump on the little topper. Now you can see him trying to get the angle, and the shortstop does not like this. That man should slide and not come in throwing a block.
Boy, McCray took 2 or 3 short steps right before he got to the bag, and that's the way they played in the World Series, fans. Now here is Concepcion.
There isn't a football coach in America who doesn't have a big smile on his face right now.
And those who say that baseball is a no-contact sport, just lay back and watch. 1-0 the count, and Concepcion, the shortstop. Holtzman, a good fastball, let her high, 1-1. Bando made a good play there, by the way, on that very soft infield turf. He had to take the short hop, and it does not come up true all the time on this kind of grass. Foul strike back into the crowd. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Only one player in the National League wears number 13. And you're looking at him, Dave Concepcion. 4 American League pitchers wear number 13, including Blue Moon Odom, who worked here last night. 1 out, still no score in the second inning. Bando to Green, they got 1, and there'll be no double play.
And Green hung right in there. He didn't flinch. He had back surgery earlier in the year, too.
Fans, this telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball.
Watch Menke coming in hard again on a replay. Another difficult play for Green. Much more difficult for a second baseman because your back is toward the runner. The shortstop, you have the runner out in front of you. You can see him sliding. You can avoid him.
Here's Don Gullett with a runner at first and 2 down. He had a good rip. Gullett hit .211 for the year. His lifetime National League average, 159. Only 21 years old and his second World Series. Strike 2. Holtzman showing good respect. He's keeping that ball away from Gullett. Missed with a fastball, 1-2. I'll say this, Kurt, for a series that has been so low scoring, we've really had some action.
It's been the tenseness of every game. The low scoring struggles, but very tight.
Bouncing ball to Green. Underhanded toss to Campaneris for the force play, and in the second, no runs, a hit, 1 left on. The score, Cincinnati nothing and Oakland nothing.
Hi, guy. Sid? Sid? What's this, a new kind of right guard antiperspirant?
Hi there. That's my new Right Guard Natural Scent.
Natural scent?
It's new. Light and fresh. You know, natural. Smell it.
Oh, it smells terrific.
It's Right Guard.
Oh.
Helps keep you dry all day.
New Right Guard natural scent. Does Monin hold out you?
Oh, they moved.
Oh.
This is my husband, Bruno.
Bruno? Hi, guy.
Gillette makes a better double edge now than the one your father used. The smoothest edge we can put on a blade for the smoothest shave we can put on your face. The Platinum Plus blade. And someday, Gillette will make even a better blade for your son. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We made the first blade, and we're still the first blade. Gillette. Platinum Plus.
The statistic at which you're looking right now indicates that left-handers pitching to the A's lineup with a Reggie Jackson and a Mike Epstein and a Matty Alou, all batting fairly close together, gave this Oakland ball club some trouble. They were tough on right-handers, as you can see, 66 wins and 38 losses.
Jack Billingham didn't read those statistics last night.
He certainly didn't. Here is Sal Bando, the A's team captain. Product of that great baseball factory in College, Arizona State University. Strike, and Gullett really let one go that time. He is throwing hard. Bando's had only one hit in the series. He was the key out that Billingham got last night. Bases loaded, one out. He got him to hit into a double play. 1 ball and 1 strike. In the last 16 games Sal has played, he's really been in a slump. He's not had an extra base hit. Last home run was on September 20th here against Wilbur Wood. Base hit, right field. Bando is on with the first Oakland hit of the night, and that brings up the big guy, Mike Epstein. This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Mike Epstein, the A's top home run hitter this year with 26. Still looking for his first World Series hit. He's been up 7 times officially. He has been walked a few times. Strike. He hit a home run off a left-hander, Mickey Lolich, in the playoffs. Mike has not been platooned all year in Oakland. He has been given the job most of the season here. Foul away. He will hit the ball for power to left and left center field against left-handers. There's George Hendrick, just in front of the Oakland A's dugout with skipper Dick Williams leaning up on the top step right behind him. You can see the players have their jackets on tonight. Gullett quickly ahead of Epstein at 0-2. Curveball misses. See the first baseman Perez playing behind Bando. Left-handed batter Epstein is up, dictates that partially, but the Reds' first basemen have not held many A's runners on in this series. A jam, broken bat, looper to Joe Morgan, and Epstein won't bat with that one anymore. Gullett has really jammed 2 A's power hitters. He's knocked the bat right out of the hand of Rudy and Epstein tonight. Now Gullett will pitch to George Hendrick. He's the center fielder for Oakland since Reggie Jackson is on the shelf with an injury. George has had 1 hit in the series. Get a good cut right there. Gullett overpowering so far. And he's throwing strikes. Bounced that one across the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike. 1 out and 1 on. We're in the last half of the second. No score. Cincinnati and Oakland. Concepcion got 1 and over to Perez for the double play. The score after 2, 0-0.
A Chrysler has always been an automobile with a tradition of performance on the open road. It was an automobile that faced the challenge of Le Mans and saw victory in 56 Grand National competitions. Today, the tradition continues with electronic ignition in this 73 Chrysler Newport, a Chrysler more people can afford.
Chrysler Newport. Extra care in engineering. It makes a difference.
Of course you get 1 button color.
on Sears 19-inch color TV. But you also get something a lot more important. Come, I'll show you. You get Sears testing for quality. Sears service available nationwide. And most important,
We'll take care of it.
Sears reputation for dependability. With Sears 19-inch color TV, you get a lot more than one button color.
No matter whose steel-belted radio commercial you see, there'll probably be a demonstration of superior handling characteristics. They'll tell you how steel-belted radials make so great a difference you can actually feel it. Feel how they hug the road on sharp turns and at high speeds. So with everybody telling you similar things, which brand you buy? Well, only Uniroyal can tell you this. Worldwide, we've been selling steel-belted radials 10 years longer than any other American tire company.
As you can see, Cincinnati was awfully tough against left-handers this year. They won 28, lost 12, and right-handers 67 and 47. Rose, bunt, picked up by Tennis Fair. He throws it in the dirt, and Mike Epstein dug it out of there. Gino's having a tough time throwing that ball tonight.
Epstein's had 3 throws a little bit off target. Look at Tennis again. Notice how he grabbed the ball with his glove and the bare hand. It's his feet position, and then it looked like he threw a sinker ball. Epstein made a fine play on to save Tennis an error.
Both catchers very quick. Tennis and Bench very agile. They've both jumped on bunts in this series. Here's Joe Morgan, who flied out to left his first time up. Dick Green to his right. And have to hurry. Took a hitch and threw that ball and got him. 2 down.
And did you see that ball when it hit that thick turf in the infield, how it was slowed down?
In Cincinnati, that ball is in center field. Both catchers, Bench and Tennis, played other positions. This year, as a matter of fact, Bench played some in left field for Cincinnati. Gene Tennis has played everywhere, including second base in the championship series in Detroit. Bobby Tolan takes a curve from Holtzman, who's been pretty tough against Cincinnati in his entire career. He's won 9 games and lost 3 against the Reds, including a no-hitter he pitched against them. Tolan bounces one to Epstein. That goes foul. Holtzman had that curveball right in on his fist that time. An oddity about Holtzman's record against Cincinnati, as long as he's pitched against them, he's pitched only 1 complete game, and that was a no-hitter. So as he says, and Cincinnati Reds players all say, we usually have something going against him, but he's been able to beat us. And in both innings here tonight, up until now, he's had somebody on. Fastball sliding over that outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Holtzman, a 19-game winner for the A's. With the late appearance of Vida Blue this year, the trade for Holtzman was one of the biggest Charlie Finley made. Out in the A's bullpen, Dave Duncan tosses it to one of the little ball girls. Let's see if he goes with a waste pitch here. Tennis giving an inside target. He went right after him, and it's a never. That's going to be a tough play for Bando. He makes the play to first for the out. 3 ground balls in the 3rd, and after 2.5, the score: Cincinnati nothing, Oakland nothing.
To the equitable agent, no 2 people are alike.
Is there anyone else in the whole human race with your kind of style and your kind of grace?
No 2 people are alike. That's why your equitable agent thinks of you as an individual. His training and thinking are shaped around you and your life insurance needs. To the equitable agent,
There's nobody else exactly like you. Nobody else like you.
I'll never forget the time a pro scout came to one of our scrimmages. We couldn't do anything right. The only thing that did go right was that keg of draft beer we had. I never knew beer could taste so fresh and go down so smooth. And today, though none of us made it to the pros, we still drink that same draft beer in cans, thanks to Peel's Real Draft.
Peel's Real Draft, the kind of beer you first loved.
We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. Kurt, I believe we're going to have a pitching change for tomorrow night. Gary Nolan was scheduled to pitch for Cincinnati, and I think they've taken him out of there.
He threw in the bullpen last night. I don't believe they liked the way he looked. And I believe they haven't announced officially, but I think they'll come with Jim McLaughlin, the right-hander.
Here's Gene Tennis. A's catchers had 2 hits in the World Series. He's 2 for 10, and guess what they were? Both home runs. Looks as if they might be talking about the location of the batter's box in relationship to the plate. Johnny Bench might have complained that Tennis was too close or something.
If McLaughlin goes for the Reds tomorrow afternoon, Jim Hunter will be pitching for the Oakland A's.
Gullett to Tennis, low and away, ball 1. Gene Tennis, who signed in the A's organization as a shortstop, played in the outfield, wasn't getting anywhere, decided to become a catcher. Takes a look at a blazing fastball for a strike. It's 1-1. In ball player parlance, Mr. Gullett is bringing it tonight. The A's have 1 hit, an off-field single by Bando. Gullett watches intently as Tennis digs in at the plate. Lefty Grove over behind the dugout probably would have thrown the next pitch right at him. They say he was really mean. Pitch is fouled off, strike 2. Cincinnati, no runs, 2 hits. The A's, no runs, 1 hit. The pitchers continue to dominate the World Series of '72. Dennis Menke works on the 2-hopper and gets it to Perez to retire Tennis. 1 out in the 3rd. Now here's Dick Green.
You know, Monty, this Gullett was quite a high school athlete at Lynn, Kentucky. We heard he scored 66 points in 1 game. The high school halfback. Tony asked him if it was 11 touchdowns. He said no, 10 touchdowns and 6 extra points. 1 game.
Green takes a fastball strike. He made 47 points in 1 basketball game. So he had to take his choice, probably, of where to go with his great talents. Many major league players were super athletes in all categories. Green had a good cut but missed. It's strike 2, 0-2. Vida Blue of the A's was a tremendous quarterback. Threw 35 touchdown passes his senior year. Green fouled that off. Gullett didn't pitch long in the minor leagues either. They took a look at his arm in only 11 games in the minor leagues, and it was upstairs for him the rest of the way. Struck him out with a breaking ball. Bench dropped it but tagged him out. So they're 2 down. Gullett gets his first strikeout of the night. And it brings to the plate Ken Holtzman, who was a good hitting pitcher for Oakland this year. John Chancellor's clear and incisive reporting and the lively commentary of David Brinkley's Journal make the NBC Nightly News television's best right here on NBC. Holtzman had a little wager with Catfish Hunter. The season started as to which would get a higher number of base hits for the year, and Hunter finished strongly to take him. His lifetime average shows only a 158 mark, but he has hit a couple of home runs. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think that might have been Gullett's breaking ball. He's even throwing it hard.
Monty, if he gets that snake over along with the fastball he's got, A's might be in trouble. He's overpowering.
Amazing thing is these young pitchers can come out here and throw strikes in this tense situation. Holtzman rips one to left, but Pete Rose will be there when it comes down. And it's 3 up, 3 down after 3 innings of play at the Oakland Coliseum. It's Cincinnati nothing and Oakland nothing.
Hey, 2 guys are out to get your car. First, it's winter. He wants to freeze you to death. Then comes summer. He wants to boil you over. what? You can beat them both with Prestone 2 Winter-Summer Formula. Fights winter freeze, fights summer boil over. Prestone 2 with its patented new anti-corrosion formula. If you can't trust Prestone, who can you trust? Sorry, boys. No riders.
Major League umpire Bill Haller, give us the one word that best describes that El Producto cigar.
Good taste, mild. I have to go along with mild.
Hey, Bill, what are you talking about? El Producto's got flavor. Flavor's the word.
Kenny, mild's the word.
Your taste buds must be going blind, Bill.
Kenny, mild or back to the showers?
Well, I never said they weren't mild.
Next time, try a great tasting El Producto. You'll call it like you smoke it.
Mild.
You know, Monty, Johnny Bench is leading off here in the fourth inning. And last night, he dated the boss's daughter. Only it was the wrong boss. He had a date with Charlie Finley's daughter. Called her up, took her to the basketball game.
She's a beauty, too. Former homecoming queen at the University of Colorado.
We were kidding Charlie Finley about it. He may want to borrow some money someday.
Charlie has a big family, 7 children, and 6 of them made the trip into Detroit, then on to Cincinnati, and out here.
His oldest daughter, Sharon, is expecting a baby any day now, and she is home in LaPorte, Indiana. The only child that isn't here in the Finley family.
And there is A's owner Charlie Finley, right next to his wife Shirley. Kenny Holtzman to Johnny Bench, who's had 4 hits. Kenny starts him off with a curve high and away. Both Charlie Finley of the A's and Bob Hausum of Cincinnati have done super jobs putting together championship clubs here this year. Hausum decided after the 1970 World Series team for the Cincinnati Reds that it was not the kind of team he wanted, even though they had won a National League pennant. He wanted an exciting team, one that thrilled the fans, and he went out and got a Morgan and a Geronimo and others. Johnny Bench has hit number 5, a single up the middle. And as a leadoff man, Kurt, in this series, he has been something. He has had about 9 or 10 chances to lead off an inning in the series, and he has been on a high percentage of times.
He and Perez now have been on 7 times each. They lead the World Series getting on base.
I know the A's felt when the series started if they could keep him hitting ground balls up the middle and to right field, though, they'd be in pretty good shape. They have kept him in the park so far. Now here's Tony Perez. Struck out with 2 men on in scoring position in the first inning. Fouled it off. Holtzman really blistered one by him in that first inning to strike him out.
You were talking about the trades that Cincinnati made. One of the reasons they made them was moving to the new ballpark, Riverfront Stadium, where defense and speed was more important than an old Crosley Field.
It looked last year as if it might not be the right thing. They finished 4th, but boy, this year, and Sparky Anderson and Bob Hausum both said all winter, we have the kind of club that can win it now, and they did. The drive to deep left center field. George easy riding Hendrick makes the catch, and Bench all the way to second, goes back to first. Perez put a pretty good charge in that one, but there was never any thought that it would go out. George Hendrick covers a lot of ground and makes it look awfully easy. His teammates call him Easy George. One out. Now here's Hal McRae, and the A's haven't gotten him out of the series. He's had 3 for 3, including 2 pinch hits. And Kurt, this year, this guy pinch hit 4 home runs.
Right, and the Orioles didn't get him out either. He had 5 hits and 11 times up in the 1970 series. Very effective against Baltimore.
He got jammed aplenty then. Campaneris bobbles it for a moment, and Green can't turn the double play as Bench comes in there on him. He lost the timing when Campaneris bobbled the ball just a moment.
See if we can see the ball rolling up the arm of Campy Campaneris as he really had to charge the ball. Just barely has a grip on it. And Dick Green is really taking a beating down at second base. Here comes Bench. Took a glance at Campy, see where he's going to throw. Now he's got Green once again, who just barely gets out of the way this time.
Green has done a miraculous job of holding on to that ball with all those guys shooting at him tonight. 2 out, a man on, and here's Dennis Menke. 0-1. There have been more batters jammed tonight already, about 4 bats broken. Pitcher's moving the ball in, moving it out. Both throwing pretty hard stuff. McRae is going. The liner goes straight to Bendo. The score, 0-0.
After a shampoo, you want to hide. You can look wild. Or you can rub something in, but then your clean hair may not feel so clean. Well, now there's something brand new. The Dry Look After Shampoo Control. Made to give clean hair clean control. Hair feels soft. Control is easy. So forget the wild look and the slick look. Get the Dry Look After Shampoo Control. New from Gillette. Clean control for clean hair.
Introducing the Roughnecks. Shaving leaves their necks rough and irritated, but now for the Roughnecks, a special kind of Gillette Foamy. Face Saver, with 25% more lubricants for better protection against shaving irritation. Face Saver looks different, feels different. Feel the way your razor glides over even the most sensitive part of your face, your neck. So if shaving irritates your neck, get Foamy Face Saver for the Roughnecks.
Merrill Lynch is bullish on America, and we've got 29 different ways to help you share in America's growth. Common stocks, for example, the most direct way to own a part of major American companies. Ask us about common stocks, or most any kind of investment. Merrill Lynch has 29 different ways to help you share in America's growth. Merrill Lynch is bullish on America.
As we go to the last half of the fourth inning, Bert Campaneris will lead it off for the A's. And Kurt, though the Reds are not coming up with too many base hits, they're really swinging that bat tonight. Campy takes ball one.
Much more aggressive than we've seen them at any time in this series. They're taking good, hard cuts. They look like the club that was scoring 5, 6, 7 runs a game during the National League season.
Great stop by Menke. And he got him. Menke playing shallow, which made that a tougher play. Campaneris almost hit it by him.
Menke daring Campaneris to hit the ball by him about 6 feet up in front of the bag. Diving stab by Menke. He knows he's got to hurry, gets a good grip to get Campaneris.
Oh, we have had more infielders with their uniforms dirty on diving stops here in the last couple of nights. Here's Matty Alou. Took the curve high. He wanted that one. Gullett hasn't hung very many tonight, but he hung that one.
He hasn't hit a ball hard in this series.
Ball two. He really ripped it in the Detroit series. He had 4 doubles against the Tigers. 1 off the left center field wall. He's hit 1 home run. He hit it right after he joined the A's and hit it to right field. Gullett is behind him, 3-0 now. Matty's a little bit like Campaneris. You really have to work to walk this guy. They come out of that dugout swinging the bat. Ball 4. Jerry Adair bats Matty Alou on the back as he comes over at first base with Joe Rudy coming to the plate for the Oakland A's. Rudy got jammed and popped up to the shortstop in the first inning. Joe's had 3 hits in the World Series. He's been up 12 times. Strong man. Kurt, this is one of the few men I know in Major League Baseball who will work with weights. He spends a lot of time in the winter weightlifting.
He's worked in every department of the game. And he has very quietly sneaked up on Major League Baseball as one of its brightest stars.
You really have to be quick to stand as he's standing right there and hit the high inside pitch. Tried to go to right with that one. You could see him shorten up on the swing just a little bit. 1 strike to count. It's a very radical batting stance. You have to be strong to be able to stand like that and hit the ball as he's hit it this year. Fouled it off. And Gullett is ahead of Rudy now at 0-2. We're scoreless in the 4th inning, and we're happy to have you with us on NBC tonight, watching this game live and in color from the Oakland Coliseum. It's a foggy night over San Francisco, and that fog is now over Oakland. A's lead in the series 2-1. Rudy takes the ball. You'll notice Rudy, after every pitch, leans down and picks up some dirt. Irv Norn, the third base coach for the A's, a boyhood friend of Dick Williams, the skipper of Oakland. They played a lot of baseball together on the sandlots of Los Angeles. Bench throws the ball away, and Alou's on his way to second.
That's the first error the Reds have made in the series. Oakland has made 5 errors.
Bench caught Alou leaning a little bit, and he made a pretty good throw right on the money. I think Perez took his eye off the ball momentarily to see where Alou was, and the ball got by him for an error.
Now, if Joe Rudy or Sal Bando can come up with a base hit, the A's could take the lead here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gullett went high and away on both waste pitches to Rudy. Ball 3. They have given the error to the first baseman, Tony Perez. It looked as if he made the tag before he got the ball. Three and 2 to Rudy. Gullett is not being cued. He's thrown Rudy 5 straight homers. Rudy, one of the slowest batters in baseball at getting ready. He is a very strong concentrator. He struck him out. Gullett just poured it right by him. And now with Bando coming up, first base open, what do you think? Will they pitch to this right-handed batter or save it and pitch to Epstein?
Well, surprisingly, Epstein hit over 300 against left-handers this year, and the Reds know that. They're going to work to him and walk Bando.
Bando's kind of smiling at the plate. I would imagine he kind of said something to Bench like, man, why are you walking me?
Either that or they're not going to catch me like they caught you yesterday.
Hey, there's been great camaraderie on the field between players of these two teams, despite what you might have been reading in the papers all across the country. They have a lot of respect for each other, and well, Johnny Bench took Reggie Jackson out for dinner in Cincinnati, and Reggie returned the favor here. But you can see with plays that we've had here tonight, it's all out for leather once they got on the base paths. Here's Mike Epstein with the A's first scoring opportunity of the ball game. They'll play Epstein back on the right side. Morgan not playing anywhere close to as deep as he played in Cincinnati, but I would imagine he'll still get back on the outfield grass. Alou at second. Bando at first. Don Gullett, who won 9 games for Cincinnati and lost 10 this year. Missed with a low fastball. 1-0. Boy, you can really tell, watching him work on Joe Rudy, what he thinks is his best pitch. He threw him nothing but smoke. There's the infield. See the shortstop, Concepcion, playing over behind second almost. Epstein pops it foul right back into our booth almost. Just below us. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
That's the pitch you have to lay off when Gullett's out there on the mound, Monty. Anything that starts about chest high, you've got to lay off because it takes off out of the strike zone high.
George Hendrick. Close-up look at the youngster on deck. Epstein doesn't move away from that plate very much. He just moved back a little bit. Mike led the American League being hit by pitches last year, but not this year. Sal Bando was hit about 9 times this year by pitchers. Sal over at first base right now, and Mike Epstein at the plate with a 2-1 count. Scoreless ball game. Base hit could mean a run. Great play by Concepcion. well on the first base side of second base, and they got Mike Epstein and retired the A's, leaving 2 on.
I don't think Morgan could have made the play as he was going to his right. He wouldn't be able to stop. Concepcion ranging far on the first base side of second with a fine play on Epstein.
In the 4th inning, no runs and 2 left. 1 error, the score, 0-0.
Okay, I don't know hold 'em for tonight. Let's go get us a beer.
When it's Miller time at the old home place, all the hands come riding in. If you got the time, we've got the beer. Miller beer. If you got the time, Miller beer. We've got the beer. Miller beer. If you got the time.
This is a Plymouth engine plant, and every engine built here goes through this engine function tester. It finds problems that people don't find. That's
Grab in the right field corner. Last of the 5th inning, George Henry grounded into a double play his first time. He pops it up to the right side. Joe Morgan spread eagling those arms, squeezes it out, number 1. The next batter for the A's will be Gene Tennis, who grounded out his first time. The A's, the last month of the season, didn't score many runs. They were winning 2-1, 3-2. Receiving pitching just like there's a long drive. Goodbye. And the A's are in the lead. Gene Tennis has hit another one. Saturday. Another one today, Charlie Finley with 2 banners. The fireworks and the whole ballpark erupt. And the A's lead 1-0. Dick Green hits that fly ball to right fielder McRae, and they're 2 down. Boy, that Tennis really had authority on that drive. That was a line drive over the left field wall.
Kurt, that's a typical Gene Tennis blow. I know a lot of country baseball fans are wondering where in the world were his home runs all year. He wasn't playing much this year, Kurt. We feel if he'd have been playing all year, he's a 20 or 25 home run a year man.
There he is, putting on what they've called the tools of ignorance over the years, the catching paraphernalia. Meanwhile, down in the Cincinnati bullpen, Pedro Borbon is going to work. Ken Holtzman lined to left his first time. Ball 1 until Tennis hit the home run. Holtzman had hit the ball the hardest of any A line drive to Rhodes. 2 balls, no strike. So the A's lead 1-0, last of the 5th inning. The last player to hit 3 homers in one World Series, Don Clendenin, with the fantastic Mets in 1969. Ground ball to shortstop Concepcion. The A's are out, but they took the lead with 1 run, 1 hit. Gene Tennis's homer. There were no errors, nobody left. We've gone 5 innings in the score. Oakland 1, Cincinnati nothing.
Good-looking car, this 73 Plymouth Satellite. But suppose you don't buy a car just because it looks good. Well, Chrysler Plymouth made me a little drawing so I could show you what's new about it besides looks. Back there is a new quiet exhaust system. Up front, a completely re-engineered suspension system. Rides as quietly as can be. There are all kinds of sound barriers, too. In the roof, in the doors, around the wheels, all over it. Under the hood, even behind the back seat. This is the quietest mid-sized satellite ever built. They call it the Sebring Plus. It's built to be seen, not heard.
Plymouth Satellite, extra care in engineering. It makes a difference.
refreshment while they scrape the infield here for the umpires. And we're going to pause now for station identification.
Born Caged, Set Free, the story of the lion at World's End tomorrow night.
Save 100 and pick a free gift during the exciting Festival of Gifts at Standard Savings. Deposit $100 or more in a new or existing savings account at Standard Savings through October 31st. And take your pick of 5 useful gifts. Handy sports seat, electric warming tray, set of 3 stainless steel mixing bowls, bubble top umbrella, or a Canon thermal blanket. One of these and maximum interest too when you deposit $100 or more at Standard Savings.
WIS TV 10, Columbia.
The Reds trailing 1-0 come up in the 6th inning with Joe Morgan, Bobby Tolan, and Johnny Bench. Joe Morgan and Mike Epstein of the regulars are the only players who haven't had a hit so far in the 4 games. Morgan has now no hits in his last 16 times up, including the last playoff game with Pittsburgh.
Curtin, to give you an idea of how these players value World Series base hits, Dick Green told me the other day that he said, you know, after my first World Series hit, I almost asked the umpire to stop the game and get me the ball.
Okay, Morgan is flied to left, grounded out. The Reds have hit some shots tonight, but right at somebody. Foul back. You know, Morgan is usually played as a full hitter. But George Hendrick, the center fielder of the A's, is playing him into left center. Bando tightened up at third. 1 ball, 1 strike. Strike to Joe Morgan. Jim Hunter against probably Jim McLaughlin tomorrow. 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time, a World Series report. Joe Garagiola and the coverage of Game 5. Two balls, 2 strikes. Bobby Tolan. He'll be followed by Johnny Bench. Gets it off the fist foul. Some fans have remarked to me, Monty, that Sal Bando looked heavy. I talked to Sal tonight. He said, no, I'm 214. My playing weight's between 210 and 215.
He's just a heavy-looking man. He says that he didn't gain much weight this winter.
Ground ball to second baseman Green. 1 down.
Sal says his toughest problem with weight is when the A's go to Cleveland and play, and his mother, who is quite an Italian cook and a good one, has him out at the house a few days.
Bobby Tolan is reached in an error by the pitcher and is grounded out 0 for 2. 1-0 Oakland, top of the 6th inning. Yet I just tipped Holtzman's glove. Campaneris fires and gets him. I think it just tipped the outstretched glove of the pitcher, Ken Holtzman. If it did, you'd score that one. Pitcher to short to first.
During the last of the 5th, it appeared that Gullett was losing a little bit off his fastball. It's just the opposite of Holtzman. He seems to be coming on stronger. He's thrown his best fastball in the ballgame this inning.
Johnny Bench has single to right, single to center. He and Tony Perez lead the series with base hits 5 apiece. And there is a line drive charged by Lou, and he's got it. What a game he's playing in right field tonight. Well, the Reds are down in the 6th inning. And at the end of 5 1/2, here it is again.
Fine running snap by Matty Lou in right field.
At the end of 5 1/2, Oakland 1, Cincinnati nothing.
sometimes it does pay to be good. Take these two guys. The man on the left is just an okay driver, but the man on the right, he's a good driver. And Allstate gives good drivers a special low rate on auto insurance. Sure, other companies have a good driver rate and other discounts, but with all our discounts and today's most advanced claim handling, compare. And we think you'll find a difference at Allstate. Come see us and bring your halo.
I'll never forget the first time my father brought me to Ernie's to have a couple of draft beers with his friends.
I want you to meet my son, Joey.
Man, those drafts were really something. They went down so nice and easy and had a fresh flavor I never knew beer could have. And what I liked about draft beer then, I like now about Peel's Real Draft.
Peel's Real Draft, the kind of beer you first loved.
Last of the sixth inning. Top of the A's batting order. Campaneris, Alou, and Rudy. Ball one. Pedro Borbon goes back to work in the Cincinnati bullpen. Campaneris was robbed of extra bases on a stabbing grab by Menke, the third baseman in the fourth. He hits a high fly to deep left. Squeezed over in the corners, Pete Rose, foul ground, takes it, one down. If you like collecting things, why not try something with a sure payoff United States Savings Bond? You can buy bonds right now through the payroll savings plan. It's easy, it's painless, and it's sure. You'll collect peace of mind. Start buying U.S. savings bonds now and join payroll savings. Matty Alou has flied out and walked. They're cheering his glove, not his bat.
And, Kurt, that's a little unusual because when Matty came over here, some of the reports from the National League were that he was not an outstanding outfielder. He has been anything but a poor outfielder for Oakland. He's even thrown 2 runners out on the bases. He's made several circus catches, and the A's are mighty happy to have him.
One hopper to third baseman Menke. 2 down. Joe Rudy has popped up, struck out. Oakland ahead 1-0 on the home run by Gene Tennis with 1 out in the 5th inning. The Reds have 3 hits. The A's have 2 hits. Each team has made 1 error. A win tonight for the A's would give them a commanding 3-1 lead. The Reds could even the series up at 2 games apiece if they won. One 1-0 to Joe Rudy. Dick Williams. Sparky Anderson. Fouled away. Sparky Anderson used to be the bat boy for Fred Haney's Hollywood Stars. Dick Williams used to play in that same area. Around Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, they've known each other for a long time.
And they have a lot of respect for each other. Neither manager has made any kind of a remark disparaging about the other in this series. They've both been very complimentary.
2 balls, 1 strike. I've never heard Sparky Anderson never say anything bad about anyone. He is, I think, one of the kindest and most complimentary men I've ever met. That's Sal Bando on that. There's a base hit for Joe Rudy to left field. A 2-out single by Rudy. Each team now with 3 hits. The batter is Bando, single to right, been walked intentionally.
Kurt Gullett must be just losing about 6 or 8 inches off that fastball. They have really ripped some drives here the last couple innings off him. Campaneris hit a ball that almost went out. Might have had it not been for this fog here.
Fog drifting in and back of us, but it's staying high. Strike one to Sal Bando. Two out. Joe Rudy at first base. Last of the sixth inning, the A's ahead 1-0. In there to him. No balls, 2 strikes. I like to have this kid's future. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Reds have Nolan, he's young. Grimsley's a young pitcher. Gullett's a young pitcher. Simpson's young if he can get over his arm problems. The Reds appear to be well stocked. The nucleus of young pitchers for a promising pitching staff for the future. And Tom Hall in the bullpen. Down he goes.
Bando gets out of there in a hurry. He's been hit in the head twice this year, Kurt. One time he was playing again the next day with the whole left side of his head swollen badly.
Third base coach Herb Norn. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Sal Bando. Three and 2. Rudy will be going on the pitch. Tony Perez looked over in the dugout. How do you want me to play it? Shall I hold? Shall I back off the bag? With 2 down. Perez is playing off the bag. Rudy's going. And there's a base hit in the left field. Rudy has to stop at second. Rose bluffs the throw to second base. The A's have runners on first and second, 2 out.
Kurt, it's amazing the ground that Concepcion covers. He came close to getting that ball, and he was playing Bando straight up.
Watch Concepcion again. The ball slowed up just a shade by this heavy turf. Hit very hard by the glove of Concepcion.
Mike Epstein looking for his first World Series hit. Popped to the second baseman, grounded to short. A strike. He was robbed of a base hit by Concepcion in the 4th inning. He has not had a hit in his last 12 times up in the playoffs and World Series. 1-0 Oakland, last of the 6th inning. Strike 2 to Epstein. Rudy at second. Bando at first. 2 out. Line shot to right field. Mel McRae has it right at him. And the A's are retired to the 6th. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. At the end of 6th inning, Oakland 1, Cincinnati 0.
Introducing a great new way to keep a man's hair in shape. New Max for Men, designed by Gillette. The hair dryer and styler with plenty of power to dry hair fast. Too much curl? The training brush smooths out waves. Too little body? The shaping comb blows in fullness. Max for Men, for the natural look, with plenty of power to style as it dries. New Max for Men, the hair dryer and styler, designed by Gillette.
Hi, Guy. Sid? Sid? What's this, a new kind of right guard antiperspirant?
Hi there. That's my new Right Guard natural scent.
Natural scent?
It's new. Light and fresh. You know, natural. Smell it.
Huh? Smells terrific.
It's Right Guard.
Oh.
Helps keep you dry all day.
New Right Guard natural scent. Does Mona know about you?
They moved.
Oh.
This is my husband, Bruno.
Bruno? Hi, Guy.
And World Series game number 5 will be on tomorrow starting at 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Because of the rain out Tuesday night, we're supposed to have 3 weekday night games in a row. They'll play Game 5 here tomorrow, and if needed, they'll go on back to Cincinnati and play in Cincinnati Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. And we have Raleigh Fingers now. It's Mike Hegan. He's gone to first base. We have Raleigh Fingers and Vida Blue starting to warm up in the Oakland bullpen. Tony Perez has struck out, flied out, leading it off for Cincinnati in the top of the 7th. And there's a broken bat blooper that may dump in there. It's a base hit for Perez. He's on with a tying run for the Reds in the 7th. Broke his bat.
Kurt, a pretty good play by Hegan getting back as quickly as he did. There's Blue, the left-hander, Fingers, the right-hander for Oakland. That soft turf saved a double along with Mike Hegan's hustle.
Tony Perez leads the World Series now in base hits with 6. But the A's have stopped benching Perez from hitting the long ball.
That was a perfect pitch almost then by Kenny Holtzman. Tennis gave him the outside part of the plate target. He hit the target perfectly. Perez just horsed it out over first.
Al McRae, a single to left, grounded into a force play. Foul back. One strike to Hal McRae. They play him to hit the left field. McRae, born in Avon Park, Florida, lives now in Bradenton. 25 years old. Just inside to him, a ball, 1-1. On deck, Dennis Menke. Sparky Anderson has called him his best pinch hitter from the right side. And he's starting him tonight. He pops it up. Campaneris yelling for it. 1 out. Perez staying at first. Dennis Menke, who's turned into quite a motorcycle addict, but only in the off-season. In fact, he's going to own a motorcycle shop.
Mickey Lolich of the Detroit Tigers is the chief devotee of motorcycles in the American League.
We had some action in the Reds bullpen. It's not a pitcher. It's the spare shortstop, Darrell Cheney. 1 out. The batter hits it to the box. Holtzman goes to Green for 1, over to first. Easy double play. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left. And the A's are up for their 7th inning stretch, with the A's leading 1-0.
There's bound to be a scene like this in almost every Radial Tire commercial. Because the fact is, Radial Tires really do have superior handling characteristics. And if they're steel-belted radials, you'll probably see a scene like this. So how can you tell which brand to buy? Well, maybe Uniroyal can help you decide. You see, worldwide, we have been selling steel-belted radials 10 years longer than any other American tire company.
I tell you, we've got to find out what Avis is up to. Hello, Avis. My name is Alan Dennis. Can you get me a Dodge in a hurry? That fast, huh?
Introducing the Wizard of Avis.
Reservation for Dennis?
The most sophisticated computer system in the travel world. It gets you a car when and where you want it, remembers everything about your reservation, and prints your rental agreement accurately, automatically.
Dennis, haven't I seen you before?
The brains of the Reds is Bob Hausum on the extreme left with the glasses, the dark raincoat. His wife alongside of him, and in the second row, the first man in, is Dick Wagner, who is the top assistant to Bob Hausum. Francis Dale, leaning over with a coat lying on the dugout, is the president of the Reds. Hausum runs the ball club. They're a quiet group right now, while Charlie Finley's been a one-man cheerleader over in back of the A's dugout. Last of the 7th. George Hendrick leads it off for Oakland. Ball 1. Hendrick hit into a double play. He's popped up. Don Gullett pitched to Beauty here. Foul back. One pitch. A home run swing by Gene Tennis. And Ken Holtzman's ahead of him right now, 1-0. Changed up. Misses. Ball 2, strike 1 to George Hendrick. Foul back. Shortstop Concepcion. Second baseman Morgan playing a couple of steps. Hendrick can run.
Kurt, Vida Blue's throwing in the bullpen real hard right now, which might indicate that Dick Williams is going to go with him the rest of the way.
Hendrick strikes out. One away for the A's in the last of the 7th. And here's the hand for Gene Tennis, Mr. Home Run of this series. There's Charlie Finley in a gold coat. Gene Tennis hit 2 home runs all season at Oakland. He's hit 1 tonight, and it's been a big one so far. Fouls it away, strike 1. The A's leading the Cincinnati Reds 1-0.
Kurt, one reason he didn't hit any more home runs, the A's had another catcher named Dave Duncan who hit 19 home runs before he lost his job to Tennis.
Strike 2 in the inside corner. The Reds will lead off the 8th inning with Concepcion, then Gullett, and will almost surely have a move by manager Sparky Anderson. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pedro Borbon is loosening up again in the Reds bullpen. 1-2 to Gene Tennis. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We have 1 down, nobody on. Borbon. Borbon, Hall, and Clay Carroll have all been exceptional pitchers in the playoffs and the World Series. Sinking fastball, and he strikes out. 2 down. Anchorman John Chancellor reports all the world and national events, and David Brinkley's Journal provides lively commentary on the NBC Nightly News, right here on NBC. Dick Green has struck out and fly to right. Dick Williams hasn't been maneuvering those second basemen around much in this series. A strike. These low-scoring games with excellent pitching, he's tried to keep a good infield defense out there. One to nothing Oakland, last of the 7th. 1 ball, 1 strike to Dick Green.
Kurt, when he was doing most of the shuffling of second basemen, is when the A's would get behind early, and it seemed as if we were in a period of about 5 weeks where we were behind the first or second inning every day.
1-1 pitch. There's a base hit by Green down the left field line. Green is hustling around. He's going for 2. Rose throws off balance, and he's safe.
Watch Green again. Pete Rose almost comes up with a whale of a play. A little bit of the acrobat he learned around second base. Off balance leaping throw. Watch Green again, coming in hard.
You're right, Tony. That was a great throw by Rose. An off-balance throw falling backwards. Lobbed it in there. Ken Holtzman should get a big hand here by the fans. Ken Holtzman has lined to left, grounded out. But he has shut out the Reds for 7 innings. Well, he'll come out to pitch in the 8th. 2 down. Fouls it away, strike 1. The A's have 1 run, 5 hits. The Reds, no runs, 4 hits. Each team has made 1 error. We have had every game in this World Series a 1-run ball game. One ball, 1 strike. The A's won Saturday at Cincinnati 3-2. They won Sunday 2-1. Last night, the Reds won 1-0, and it is 1-0 tonight, Oakland. Pop up. Menke, the third baseman, will handle this one. The A's are gone in the 7th. No runs. 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. We're going to the 8th inning here in Oakland. The score, Oakland 1, Cincinnati nothing.
I live up a very large hill, and it was kind of embarrassing always having your car not going up the hill getting to my house.
Here's what happened when some regular gasoline users switched to Shell's new Super Regular.
When I switched to Super Regular from Shell, it ceased knocking. So I finally found the gasoline that apparently will work in it.
I would warm it up, and I'd start to go, and it wouldn't go, and it would backfire. I haven't had that trouble with the Super Regular.
It did improve the performance, stop the pinging and things like that after the first few times I used it.
And sometimes, until I got around the block, it sort of crossed and jerked down the street, but now it doesn't. It drives well. I don't know that much about cars, but it drives well with the Super Regular.
Super Regular in the big red pump. Good drivability, plus more octane than the average regular. Ask our customers. Shell products perform.
We pause now for station identification.
Dinah welcomes Jack Benny, Bob Hope, and Burt Reynolds to a very special hour tomorrow night.
Watch your bullpen, guys. Blue folders. 4, 3. Ken Holtzman leading 1-0 in the top of the 8th inning will face Dave Concepcion. Julio Javier's come out on deck, evidently to bat for the pitcher Don Gullett. And then to the top of the order for Pete Rose. Tom Hall is warming up now in the Cincinnati bullpen. Vida Blue, the left-hander. There's Hall. Vida Blue, a left-hander. Raleigh Fingers, the right-hander, are warming up in the Oakland bullpen. They'll be ready in case Holtzman falters here in the 8th. Concepcion has no hits in 2 times. A curve for a strike. 49,410, the paid attendance, a sellout. Same attendance as last night. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ken Holtzman was the winner in the first game of this series, 3-2. He pitched only 5 innings. Pitched enough to get the win. There's Javier. It's misting here now. Bounding ball. There'll be a tough play by Campaneris. Safe. Epstein gave it the big boarding house reach, but Concepcion beat it out.
Banda was playing on the line, protecting against an extra base hit down the line. Campy had to go further to his right than he usually does. Bob Engel, the first place umpire, with a very close play. Just out of the grasp of Sal Banda, who was playing the line and in. Campy got over in the hole, came up with the overhand throw, and the ball appeared to sink a little bit on him.
Well, the time runs on now for Cincinnati in the 8th inning. On the infield hit by Concepcion, who's played a sparkling game tonight for the Reds in the field, and he's just come up with a big hit for them.
That was quite a throw by Campaneris out of the hole, Dan, and that's the gamble you take in late innings, putting that third baseman right on the line. That would have been an easy out for the third baseman playing in the normal position, but you have to guard that line against the extra base hit.
Javier is batting for Don Gullett. And young Gullett was outstanding tonight. Now they're looking for a bunt. Javier dumps it down the third baseline. Bando will play at the first base. 1 down. The sacker there running is Hegan towards second, trying to run him back. The tying run now on second for the Cincinnati Reds in the 8th inning. The top of the order and Pete Rose. Rose has grounded out and thrown out trying to bunt and has flied out. Rose 1 hit in 14 times. You don't hold him that way too often. Only 1 hit in 14. 8 years in a row, he's hit over 300 in the big leagues. Concepcion, a fast man at second base. A ball to Pete Rose. The highlight for Holtzman tonight is control. He has not walked a batter. And mixing a fastball, a sinking fastball with a curveball. Exceptional control. Pickoff play, too late.
Kurt, in this situation, you might think about the A's outfielders and how they throw. Joe Rudy threw out 9 runners on the bases to lead our outfielders this year, and he has, I think, what you could call better than an average arm. George Hendrick had an average arm, and Matty Alou about the same.
1 ball, no strikes. Now he's behind Rose, 2-0. The left-handers are going to be on deck, Morgan and then Tolan. There's Blue and Fingers. They'll both be ready. Joe Morgan waiting for his time at bat. Oakland 1, Cincinnati nothing. Top of the 8th inning. 2 balls, no strikes to Pete Rose. Rose hits it off the box. Green fields it and throws him out. Hit Holtzman, slowed it down, and Green came on for it. Green has played very well in the infield tonight for Oakland.
Might have been a base hit had not Kenny slowed it down. Green was playing up the middle somewhat for Rose. Now we've got Dick Williams coming out to speak with his pitcher.
I think, Tony, what the big question now is, what did he slow it down with, his pitching hand or the glove hand? Because if he had anything like that hit that hard on his pitching hand, he might be taken out of here.
Dick Williams now talking to Gene Tennis. Is he all right? You're receiving him. You should know. Does he appear to be getting tired, do you? This is when a manager wants these honest answers.
Kenny is just that way, too. He'll tell him. In Dallas one day this year, he was pitching, and he's probably told him they're going to bring in Vida Blue right here.
All
he
right,
was pitching
got the 2 left-handers up. That's right. Morgan and Tolan. They figure that maybe Holtzman is tiring a little bit. And Vida Blue is being brought on. So we have a break in the action here at the Oakland Coliseum. The score in the top of the 8th inning, Oakland 1, Cincinnati nothing.
Winchester's here, and Winchester's something else.
New kind of smoke that's something else.
Winchester, a little cigar that's a whole nother smoke. New golden taste, new filtered smoothness, mild and light.
Winchester's you. Winchester's something else.
For us, it's Eastern Airlines taking 10 Little League champs from San Juan to meet their big league champ in Pittsburgh is one of the most important things we do. And because people are important to us, more people fly with us than any other airline in the free world but one. Eastern Airlines, the wings of man.
Hi, I'm Tom Seaver. Baseball is interested in our youth. It was the first major sport to embark on a drug prevention and education program. When you consider using drugs not prescribed by your doctor, your chance of striking out is high. You take the first strike when you listen to your friends who are trying to tempt you. The second strike is when you take your first drugs. And you strike out when drugs become more important to you than keeping your body healthy. So don't strike out.
The preceding announcement was made on behalf of Major League Baseball.
Let's watch that play once again with Concepcion on second base and see if we can tell where the ball hits Kenny Holtzman. Right back at him. Appeared as though he had zeroed in on it when right beneath his glove, slowed it down enough for the second baseman to make a play.
Joe Morgan up. And Blue's over with a strike to him. Vida Blue has been outstanding in relief in the playoffs and World Series. Or he's been unhappy, too. He doesn't want to be a relief pitcher. He figures he's a starting star. Joe Morgan looking for his first hit of the series. Outside to him a ball. Concepcion's at third base. They're 2 down.
Well, you could see the velocity on that pitch, Kurt. It almost knocked the mitt off Tennis's hand.
Albando says something to him. Blue pitched 4 shutout innings against the Tigers to clinch the pennant. That was top foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He saved the game on Saturday for Holtzman. 2 2/3 innings of shutout relief. So he's now pitched 8 innings of relief in the playoffs and World Series without giving up a run. The Cy Young Award winner last year in his rookie year. And a long holdout, a bitter holdout. The 1-2 pitch. Really a wild pitch. It's 2-2. Blue won only 6 games this season. Behind in his physical conditioning, his rhythm, his timing. And he is still frustrated about the holdout. Concepcion on third, 2 down. The 2-2 delivery. Just outside. Three balls, 2 strikes to Joe Morgan. Bobby Tolan on deck. 1-0 Oakland, 8th inning. Time called. Morgan asked for time. He wanted to step out. Morgan being played to the opposite field. Here's a 3-2 pitch to him. He walked him. Joe Morgan goes to first. Concepcion's at third. 2 out. Bobby Tolan up. Now Dick Williams is coming out to the mound to talk to Vida Blue.
They've got to talk about what's going to happen if Morgan breaks to second base, too. They've got to be very careful here. The A's have just almost, in this entire series, in this situation, given second base to the runner, as if to say, we can get that man at the plate. Now, if the man makes it to second, that puts the winning run in scoring position, or the go-ahead run.
The Reds stole 3 bases last night. They've stolen a base tonight. Sparky Anderson, he still predicts the World Series is going to 7 games, and he's going to win it. He looks very confident over there.
Just wonder if that...
Yeah, nodding his head, Monty, I think, as if to say, yeah, go ahead, Joe, if they're going to give it to you. Take it.
All right, runners on first and third, 2 outs. Oakland trying to cling to this 1-0 lead. 8th inning. There he goes. And he lashes that into right field. Watch Morgan. The time runs in. Morgan may score. Here comes the throw. Morgan's in. And the Reds lead 2-1 in the 8th inning. He had a big jump, and he scores from first base on Bobby Tolan's drive into the right field corner. Tolan on second, 2 down. Joe Morgan hasn't had a hit, but he's just scored a very important run with his speed, breaking with a pitch, and scoring all the way from first. A strike to Johnny Bench, who's had 2 hits and 3 times. Single to right, single to center, lined out to right. Vida Blue came in. He walked Joe Morgan. He's given up the double to Tolan. There's a high fly ball to center field. George Henry galloping in under, has it, but the Reds took the lead in the 8th inning. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. Oakland coming up in the last of the 8th with a score. Cincinnati 2, Oakland 1.
So you found a new pad and you're moving your stuff. Well, that's okay. This car's enough. Plymouth Space Duster. You can get a fold-down seat here in the back. Gives you 6.5 feet of space to pack. Whatever you got to pack in the back. Fully carpeted. Seat folds up, too. With a roof that opens on a country ride, don't cost much extra. Lets the sun inside. Crank shut, too, nice and tight, because the sun don't shine very much at night. Of course, everybody knows that. Plymouth Space Duster. You can get more out of it, because you can get more into it.
Plymouth Duster. Extra care in engineering. It makes a difference.
Pedro Borbon will try and hold it for Cincinnati now in the last of the 8th inning. We still have not had a complete game pitched in this World Series, and Don Gullett now is the pitcher of record for Cincinnati. He was lifted for a pinch hitter at the top of this inning. Gullett went 7 innings, allowed 5 hits, 1 run, the home run by Gene Tennis. He walked 2, and he struck out 4. Dillingham last night, Gullett tonight.
Kurt,
have given the A's some great pitching.
They tell an amazing story about this Bourbon. In Boston one day at Fenway Park, Reggie Smith's supposed to have a great arm. He's an outfielder, and he and Bourbon made a little wager, and both stood at home plate to see who could throw the ball the farthest. Reggie Smith threw it on one hop against the wall 400 feet away, and Bourbon threw it off the wall on the fly.
Campaneris leads it off for the A's in the last of the 8th inning. Menke in tight against him at third. A strike. Campaneris been thrown out by the pitcher. Menke robbed him of a base hit. There's Menke right on top of the line and on the grass. Campaneris has flied out to deep left. He's hit the ball hard his last 2 times up. He'll be followed by Matty Alou, then Joe Rudy. There's a ground ball to the shortstop. Concepcion throws him out. There's 1 down. Matty Alou flied out, walked, grounded out. 1 hit in 12 times. Bourbon has been an excellent relief pitcher in the playoffs in the World Series. 7 in the 3rd innings, only 2 hits and 1 run. Clay Carroll heating up for the Reds. 0-1 to Alou. Clay Carroll at the final 3 men out last night. And he'll be joined by left-hander Tom Hall. Bounding ball, Joe Morgan. 2 down. Alou is just not getting the bat on the ball properly. Hall and Carroll. Joe Rudy has popped up, struck out, and single. Now it's Dick Williams, who has to roam that dugout with the pressure on him. Cesar Geronimo is going down to the Reds bullpen to warm up his throwing arm. Joe Rudy, the batter, 2 down, nobody on. It's a strike. Two runs, 6 hits for Cincinnati, 1 run, 5 hits for Oakland. Inside, 1-1 to Rudy. A 1-1 pitch. Ground ball into right field for a base hit. And the A's have the tying run on in the last of the 8th inning. Joe Rudy's second hit. He hits to all field. Rudy leads the A's in base hits in this series with 5. Sal Bando's had a perfect night. Single to right, walk, single to left. Ball one to Sal Bando. Rudy at first, 2 down. Sends a ground ball to shortstop Concepcion. That's all for the A's in the last of the 8th inning. They had no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. Going to the top of the 9th. Cincinnati ahead, 2-1.
Hi, Hank. Shaving close for your big close-up, huh?
Yep.
Well, don't cut yourself.
Sam, I don't have to cut myself to shave close. This is the Track 2, the 2-bladed razor from Gillette. The blades are recessed, so it's safer.
Recessed? Then how come it shaves so close?
Because when the first blade shaves your whisker, it stretches it out from the skin. And before it can snap all the way back, the second blade can shave it again, closer.
What if I went back again with my 1-blade razor?
The whisker snaps back too fast.
Gee, that's a great shave.
And that's not even my good side.
The Gillette Track 2, the 2-bladed razor.
Sports fans, here's a great offer from Gillette. Gillette will give you a 6-month gift subscription to Sport Magazine when you buy the Track 2 razor, Track 2 blades, or Platinum Plus blades. Just look for this special store display.
If we have a 7th game of the World Series on Sunday, we would have a baseball-football doubleheader here on the NBC television network. If the World Series is over, then we would have a pro football doubleheader featuring Cincinnati against the Rams, Denver versus Oakland. Tony Perez has struck out, flied out, and singled. The Reds are up in the 9th inning. Vida Blue can be the losing pitcher in this game unless the A's rally and tie and go ahead and win it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Morgan, Joe Morgan, from first base on Bobby Tolan's double, scored the go-ahead run, and he's Blue's responsibility. There's a drive sinking into right field for a base hit. Perez, 2 hits tonight. And 7 in the series. He's the World Series base hit leader here in 1972. Raleigh Fingers, a right-hander. Dave Hamilton, a left-hander, warming up in the Oakland bullpen. Perez in the 1970 series had only 1 hit and 18 times up. Here's Dick Williams to the mound. Ken Holtzman had pitched 7 2/3 innings of 5-hit shutout baseball. He was taken out in the 8th. Raleigh Fingers will come on. Vida Blue relieved him, walked Morgan, and Tolan doubled. And the Reds lead it 2-1 as we have a break in the action here at the Oakland Coliseum.
What's the one thing you shouldn't be without when you travel?
I like having the American Express card with me, particularly when I'm traveling.
I find more places accept American Express card than any other type of credit card.
I know for sure that I can use the American Express card. I've never been refused at all.
Next time you use my American Express card is in about 15 minutes right in that restaurant.
Call 800-AE8-5000 to apply for an American Express money card.
It's time for making a party for friends or the neighborhood. So make your party with Kentucky Fried Chicken and make it finger-licking good.
Right now it's Party Pleaser Month at your Kentucky Fried Chicken store. So for any kind of a party, big or small, have a party with the Colonel.
America loves what the Colonel cooks. Anytime, any place, it's finger-licking good.
Here's Raleigh Fingers again. You study him in slow motion. He's been brilliant all year long in the playoffs and the World Series. And he's going to face the right fielder of the Reds, Hal McRae. Everyone knew the Reds had the advantage of team speed, It's paid off so far tonight with Joe Morgan running and scoring from first base in a double, the go-ahead run. Now they've got him hung up. Keegan's throw down, and out is Perez.
Look at Perez. He was trying to get a good jump. Hit and run may have been on. Fingers catches him. Relay throw from Hegan as the tag is made.
Well, that makes it one down. Slow curve to McRae for a strike. McRae has a single in 3 times. Menke scheduled up behind him. Cincinnati leading 2-1 in the 9th inning. A strike. 0-2. And for the A's fans in the last of the 9th, Mike Hegan is scheduled to lead off, then George Hendrick and Gene Tennis. The Fingers got rid of him in a hurry. 2 down. When he comes in with that sidearm curveball to a right-hander, it's wicked.
Watch that last strikeout pitch. He has a good fastball, but watch this ball break. From the side, a little crossfire. Gets him to go after the bad one.
Dennis Menke, hitless in 3 times. Reds have 2 away, top of the 9th inning. They're leading 2-1. Foul back. 1-1. The Reds will have their bullpen ready. They already have Bourbon in the game. That's Hamilton and Locker now in the Oakland bullpen. Bourbon will come out for the 9th. 2-1. And Tom Hall and Clay Carroll are all loosened up, ready to go if they're needed in the last of the 9th inning. The 2-1 pitch. A high drive in the deep left center. Joe Rudy back for it. The Reds are out at the top of the 9th. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. Last chance for the A's with the score: Cincinnati 2 and Oakland 1.
Hello. I'm interrupting your TV picture with good news about color TV. Know what's in back of many TV repairs? Look, chassis tubes. Tubes get hot, weaken with age, and are a leading cause of TV repairs. So RCA takes every chassis tube out of XL100 color TVs. XL100s are 100% solid state, designed for longer life and vivid color. Give chassis tube problems the boot with XL100.
Good times don't come easy out here, but you only get one life to live, and you gotta live it to the hilt. Second chances are never handed out, so you go for the gusto in everything, even the beer you drink. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer.
Mike Hegan will be up for his first time of the game. He replaced Mike Epstein, who had gone hitless in 3 times. Geronimo now is in right field for the Reds. That's a defensive measure, one of the great throwing arms in baseball. We're going to watch a left-hander and then 2 right-handers hit against Pedro Bourbon. Oakland led all the way until the 8th inning.
Kurt, the A's in this series haven't hit a fly ball off this guy yet in 2 appearances. The base hit by Rudy was even a grounder.
Strike 1 to Mike Hegan. Sparky Anderson on your left, Dick Williams on your right. Slashes it right down to Menke, who's been a very sure-handed third baseman tonight. 1 down. Our statistician, Alan Roth, for NBC, our production stage manager, Jim O'Gorman. George Hendrick is going to be taken out, and Gonzalo Marquez is going to bat. Marquez has been an excellent pinch hitter in this postseason play for Oakland.
Kurt, he was made active for the playoffs in the place of a pitcher, actually, with special permission from the Detroit Tigers, who were given special permission for another player. But when Darrell Knowles, the regular reliever, was injured, the A's put him on instead of another pitcher.
1 out. Nobody on. 2-1 Cincinnati. Breaking pitch for a strike. Pounding ball, skipping up the middle. It's a base hit. He does it again. And the A's have the tying run on. We're going to have a runner. Sparky Anderson watching the runner coming on. That's Alan Lewis. Marquez will get a big hand. Just about every time he's been up, he's delivered against the Tigers and here in World Series competition. In the playoffs in the World Series, in 6 pinch hitting appearances, he's had 4 hits.
And they've all been big ones, Kurt, in late innings, as you usually use a man like this. Sparky Anderson going out to talk to Bourbon. Runner over at first base for the A's, Alan Lewis, is called the Panamanian Express, and he stole 102 bases 1 year in the minor leagues. He spent most of this year at Birmingham in the AA Southern League and the athletic system. He's brought up every year just about as strictly a pinch runner. And he stole some big bases for the A's down the stretch in those low-scoring games Oakland was winning. But he's tried to go on Johnny Bench so far in this series and hasn't made it.
Tomorrow, Jim Catfish Hunter will be pitching for Oakland. Probably Jim McLaughlin, a right-hander. We say probably, they're not sure. 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time, Game 5 of the World Series. A strike to Gene Tennis. Grounded out in the 3rd, hit a home run over the left field fence in the 5th, struck out in the 7th. Don Mincher's in the on-deck circle. That's ball 1. A big power-hitting left-handed batter, Don Mincher. And now Dick Williams is claiming a balk. Yelling out. Something about the stretch, not coming to the stop. Stop for 1 second. 2 balls and a strike to Gene Tennis. The A's are down by 1 run, last of the 9th inning. Now Sparky Anderson, as the wheels turn here in the Oakland Coliseum, moves to the mound. And he is not hesitating. He wants his veteran who came in and dispatched the A's with such ease last night, Clay Carroll. Carroll, who set a major league record with 37 saves this year, just did it in such easy fashion last night that it was boom, 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 and they were all in the clubhouse.
Amazing thing, the pressure that is put on him by the manager. Last night the count was 3 balls and no strikes when he came on to pitch to Mike Epstein, and he got Mike. He threw the first pitch for a strike. Epstein swung at the second one, and then he went right on through the rest of the men. But he's a veteran. He's been around a long time doing this very thing, and these relievers, the short relievers who come in under pressure are, I'll tell you, they're a special breed of man.
Some people talk about the low batting averages now in baseball, Monty, compared to years ago. I was talking to Lefty Grove today. You get around and talk to fellas who played in the Neva and still watch baseball, still follow it, and they all admit that the relief specialist today has something to do with it.
Right. Lefty would pitch complete games when he had been given something like a big lead and blow it, and he says he stayed in a lot of ball games all the way when he'd give up 6, 7 runs, but today they don't do that.
You look at these 3 men, Bourbon, Hall, Carroll, really outstanding pitchers. When they only have to come in for an inning or 2, they're rough. The same with Blue and Raleigh Fingers. And Knowles, who's out of the series with a broken thumb. Darrell Knowles. All clubs have great relief specialists now. 2 balls and a strike to Gene Tennis. 3 balls, 1 strike. And Clay Carroll thought he had that one in. That's Alan Lewis at first base, 1 out. He's the tying run for the A's here in the last of the 9th inning. Three and 1 count. There's a ground ball in the left field. Alan Lewis goes to second. And Gene Tennis now becomes the winning run at first base. Alan Lewis at second base. And Don Mincher is going to bat for second baseman Dick Green. This is Mincher's second World Series. He played 7 games for the Twins in the '65 series against the Dodgers. Dave Hamilton and Bob Locker. If Mincher gets a hold of one, he can send it.
He came over to the A's from the Texas Rangers this year in a trade and has played very little. So he's been strictly a pinch hitter. He's hitting only .216, but he did have 6 home runs before he left the Texas Rangers.
The seasonal average, .216 with 6 homers, 44 RBIs. 1 out. Runners on first and second. Ball 1 to Don Mincher. Angel Manuel has come in the on-deck circle to bat for the pitcher if he gets a shot. 1 ball, no strikes. Base hit into right center. There's Lewis, rounding third. The game is tied. Over to third goes Gene Tennis. And this Oakland crowd has gone crazy. Angel Manuel, that's Bill Poisdell, the pitching coach. He's retiring this year. The winning run now at third base for the A's. Gene Tennis is there. Mincher's at first. There's 1 out. And the bullpens have failed both clubs tonight.
Dick Williams is going over to talk to his third base coach, Irv Noren. Kurt, he'll do this a lot. He wants to make sure there's no mix-up here. The A's have run the suicide squeeze play quite often this year. It's going to be interesting to see what they do here with only 1 out and how the Reds play the infield.
And now they've officially announced the pinch hitter.
And we're going to have a pinch runner. Johnny Blue Moon Odom will run for Mincher, and he can fly. You might wonder why a pinch runner at first base. The big reason is, in case the ball is hit in a hole somewhere, he might be able to get there in time to break up a double play.
Looks like Williams had an elastic band on him. Started out, he came back. Williams has been out to the mound repeatedly in a series. He's talked to hitters. This is the A's first World Series. They're primarily a young team. Sparky Anderson now is ordering his infield in. Odom is running for Mincher, a slow man at first. The winning run is over at third, Gene Tennis. The game is tied 2-2, last of the 9th inning. The outfield will have to play very shallow. The long fly ball beats the Reds anyway. They don't want a Texas leaguer dumped in there. And Angel Manuel, who's been a disappointment this year, can be a hero right now from Puerto Rico. This is his first World Series appearance. Last year they were calling him the Little Clemente. The infield in. Ground ball. Base hit. The A's win it. The A's have come back. with 2 runs in the last of the 9th inning, and have defeated Cincinnati 3-2, and have now taken a commanding lead in this World Series. The fireworks go off. A Mob Manguel, 3 pinch hits in the last of the 9th inning for Oakland. Every game has been a 1-run ball game in this World Series, and Manguel is the hero. A bitter loss for the Reds, who had rallied to take the lead, and of course, a fantastic win for the A's. A big underdog for this World Series. They now lead it 3-1, and they can win the World Series tomorrow if they can defeat Cincinnati. The Reds must win to send this World Series back to Cincinnati on Saturday. The winning pitcher, Raleigh Fingers, in relief. The losing pitcher, Clay Carroll, in relief. And forgotten right now, the 2 excellent jobs by the starters, Don Gullett and Ken Holtzman. Monty?
Kurt, this has been an amazing baseball team. The A's did just that against the Detroit Tigers in Game 1 of the playoffs here in Oakland. After Al Kaline hit a home run against Oakland in the 11th inning to take a 1-run lead, the A's came back and scored 2 in the last half of the 11th inning. The people don't want to leave here, Kurt. They're just standing around and enjoying this thing. And as you say, the A's have a chance to bring the first World Championship team to the Bay Area in any sport of all times. What a fantastic come from behind, but one just like they've done many times this year.
Well, that's it.